Hi, boys and girls. Okay, I want to continue talking to you about fractions on a number line. And this Smart Notebook lesson is actually called Walking the Line. Okay, we're talking about the meaning of fractions on the number line, 4.3a. So by the end of the lesson, you will understand more about what fractions look like on the number line and what they represent. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to do your own fractions on the number line and look at what they represent. So let's take a look at what they have. Okay, fractions are equal parts of a whole. That key word, equal. Can you put them in the correct order on a number line? First, I must think about which fractions are bigger and which fractions are smaller. Okay, the portion size. That's right, Bill. Now come walk the line with me. Sure, Bob. Let's give it a try. I like their confidence. All right, walk the line by placing the feet in the correct order. The first thing I'm going to look at is figure out, okay, where is my benchmarks on this one? Where am I starting? So if I circle my benchmarks right here, and I do my hops, I know my denominator must represent 2. So if I'm looking at my denominator as representing 2, this has to be 0, and this has to be 1. So now I'm going to move the feet in the correct area. If this is 0, I'm going to move this foot right over here. And if that is 1, I'm going to move that one right there because 2 halves is the same as 1. And then right here is my first hop, and that represents 1 half. So I've got 0, 1 half, 2 halves, which is the same as 1. Let's go on. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to look at my benchmarks. This has to represent 0. This must represent 1. I'm going to do my hops. 1, 2, 3. So in my head, I know my denominator has to be 3. So I'm going to put 3 right here because that tells me my denominator is 3. So when I look at this, this must be 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. And I'm doing that on my own just to make sure I remember and I understand what I'm doing. Now I can move these awesome looking converses to the correct place. So here's 1/3, here is 2/3, and right over here I'm going to bring 3/3, which is the same as 1. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, with the person sitting next to you, I want you to draw this number line, and I want you to mark it the way you think it should be marked. What's the first thing you're going to do? Find your benchmarks. So here's one here, and that's going to represent 0 in this case. Here's one here, and that's going to represent 1. So draw this number line in your math journal, and then I want you to turn with your partner and see if you can figure out what pieces go where. I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, let's come back and look at it. First step that I have to do after I do my benchmarks is hop. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That tells me my denominator is going to be in, you're right, fourths. So I'm going to put my denominator here, my denominator here, my denominator here, and my denominator here. Now on my own, I'm going to number the pieces. So this has to be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4 we know is equal to 1. If that is the case, let's go ahead and move our shoes. Here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. Does anybody know what 2/4 is the same as? If you said 1/2, you are correct. 2/4 is the same as, is equal to 1/2. Let's move on. Okay, same thing. I'm going to create my benchmarks. So I'm going to put a 0 here and a 1 here. Now, with the person that's next to you, draw this number line in your math journal and see if you can figure out where to correctly put these shoes. I'll give you just a minute. Okay, let's look at this. After I've labeled my benchmarks, let's do my hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that tells me my denominator is 5, and it's cut into fifths. So now I'm going to label it. There's a fifth. 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 All right. Well, I know this first piece has to be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5, which is the same as 1. So let's move these tennis shoes. So this goes to 4/5. This goes up here to 1/5. This goes to 3/5. This goes to 5/5, which is the same as 1 whole. And this goes to 2/5. Good job, guys. Let's go on. Same thing. Draw it in your journal. Label your benchmark so it looks like I'm between 0 and 1. Now, with the person sitting next to you or your partner or on your own, finish it up. I'll give you a minute. Okay, next step is your hops. You've got to know what it's cut into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this number line is cut into 6 equal pieces, which means it's cut into 6. So my denominator is going to be 6. Now I'm just going to count the pieces. So this is 1/6, 2/6, 3 pieces is 3/6, 4 pieces from 0 is 4/6. Oops, I missed this one. 5/6 and 6/6, which we know is the same as a whole. Now I can very easily move my tennis shoes or my tracks, the bottom of the shoes. There is 6/6 or 4/6, 5/6, 1/6, 3/6, 6/6, and 2/6. See how easy that is? When you find your benchmarks, you do your hops, and you label. Let's keep going. Okay, this one's got more pieces to it. So again, first thing, find my benchmarks. It will be between 0 in this case and 1 because they have no whole numbers for us. And our little feet down here have no whole numbers. So that's the first step. You do the rest on your paper. Draw your lines. Do your hops. And let's see what the denominator is. Okay, let's come back together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that tells me my denominator is in eighths. This is cut into 8 equal pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and put my denominator down. I'm going to count my pieces. Here's 1/8. Here's 2 pieces, so 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, which is the same as 1. Little clue, whenever your numerator is half of your denominator, that's exactly what it stands for, is 1/2. So that's just a little early clue for y'all. Now I'm just going to put these shoe prints in the appropriate place. 3/8, 6/8, 8/8, which is the same as 1 whole. 2/8 all the way down here. 7/8, 5/8, 1/8, and 4/8. And see how easy that is when we already have the number line labeled? Let's move on. Okay, this one. Ooh, this one's a little challenging. Well, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is circle my benchmarks, create my benchmarks. This is from 0, and this is to 1. I'm going to go ahead and do my hops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go ahead and label it in 6s in first. So, because my denominator is 6, so 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. All right, so this would be 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. So let's see if I have any 6s down here. I've got my 2/6, so I can put it right here. I've got my 3/6. I've got my 4/6. Now notice I have something that's called thirds and halves. Okay, now we talked about this. If my numerator is half of my denominator, then that word half tells you it represents 1/2. Now I've got 1/3 and I've got 2/3. So if I look at this number right here and I go, okay, 1/3, that means I'm going to try to count these and cut these into thirds. So I'm thinking in my head, all right, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So here must be 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. So when I go here, 1/3, ooh, 1/3 is the same as 2 6s. Ooh, that means they're equivalent. Equivalent means they mean the same. So 2/3 or 2 6s and 1/3 mean the same thing. And we're going to show you later on how to figure that out. But right now we just want to look at it this way. And then 2/3 is equivalent or equal to 4 6s. Okay, let's go on. That was kind of a challenge. Now, looks like they're going to challenge us again. What do you notice about the denominator 8 and 4? Well, 4 is a multiple of 8. So that's one of the things that's going to help you when we find equivalent fractions. So the first thing I'm going to do again is find my benchmarks. 0 and 1. And I'm going to do my hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to go ahead and place these in 8s. So 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and 8. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this one, can't skip it. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. So I'm going to go ahead and place my 8s first. So here is 4/8. Here is 6/8. Here is 2/8. And here is, let's see what this one is. Ooh, this is 1/2. Okay. Is there any fraction on here that the numerator is half of the denominator? Well, if you said 1/2 is the same as 4/8, you are correct. 4/8 and 1/2 are equivalent fractions. Now I've got 1/4 here, and I've got 3/4. Let me think about this. 4 is a multiple of 8. How many times do you multiply 4 to get to 8? If you said 2, you are correct. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to go, well, let's go from 0 and count 2 pieces. So there's one hop. Let's go from 2 and count 2 more pieces. There's 4/8. Let's count from 2, 2 more pieces. There's 3, 2, and 2 more pieces. There's 4. So it looks like 2 pieces of 8 is equal to 1 piece of 4th. And let's see if we're right. So 1 piece of 4th is equivalent to 2 pieces of 8. Well, 3 pieces of 4, 1, 2, 3, 3/4 is equal to 4/8. 3 pieces of 4 is equal to 4/8. And they kind of showed us on here. I drew it for you so you could see it. What did you notice while walking the line with me? Well, I wonder what Bill has to say. Let's see what he has to say. We hope he says something. I noticed that the bigger the denominators means the smaller the fractional pieces. So the larger the denominator, the smaller the piece. So you don't want the large denominator, you want the small denominator. That would be like if you had a pizza that was cut into 2 pieces or a pizza that was cut into 4 pieces. So this is 4ths and this is halves. The larger the denominator, the smaller the piece. So the smaller denominator, not numerator, but the denominator, then the larger the piece. So Bill says, I noticed that the bigger the denominators means smaller fractional parts. 8ths are smaller than 3rds. I also noticed that there are many ways to represent the same fraction, which we say is equivalent. 1/4, 1/2, 2/4, and 3/6 are all the same amount. Okay, guys, so that is the lesson today about the meaning of fractions on a number line. This was just a little bit different way to look at it. We also touched on equivalent fractions, which we will be talking about more. We'll see you soon. Bye.